Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Today we are going to go over mommy issues because that's going to be a big bag to unpack. Now, if anybody out there watching has mommy issues, hit the like button just so everybody doesn't feel so alone, especially with the trauma we have been given by our maternal parent. Yay for trauma. So I'm gonna go back to my mom. I was roughly in high school. This is where she was somewhat nice. Okay. She wasn't always bad, but it's gotten worse over the years. So in high school, after the sex education class, after Jean, if you've seen the video, if not, go back and view it. So after I came out about Jean, she was actually the reason why I came out about him. She gave me the option to come out and go to court or just keep it to myself and explain to me what the better value would be, especially since she knew I was feeling very guilty that he was a life skills teacher and he could have been doing it to other kids, yada yada yada. So she took me to court. We went through the whole process of getting examinations and everything done, and she was right there with me through the whole thing. During therapy, because they also did therapy for the mothers, or the parents of the kids who had the abuse done to them. She went through that while I went through my own therapy. But the thing is, if I showed any other emotion other than being a basic robot, if I was having too many days where I was upset, if I was feeling guilty, if I just was not in the mood to do anything, it was always an excuse. My emotions were always an excuse of not getting stuff done. If I was sick, it was always an excuse for stuff not getting done around the house. The typical chores she expected for us to get done. And there was quite a bit of chores that were expected, as well as schoolwork and everything else. I mean, as I said, she was nice. She would take us out for birthdays and things like that, celebrate us. But it was more of the fact that no news was definite good news in our factor of growing up. At least mine, if you got like straight A's, basically the toppest marks you can get at school, it was just like well, congrats and let's move on from life, because life is not going to throw you a party. So it was more of a no news is good news scenario. Now, after high school, I was 18. I was expected to take care of my brother, as a working job. I was getting paid to do it pretty much under minimum wage. But I was getting paid to take care of my brother. Now, I was still living in, under her roof. So there was one day her and I got into a big fight. I don't remember what it was over, but I told her I was going to go outside and I was going to go walk, or I was going to drive and I was going to be back. And if I was back in enough time, I was going to take care of Jonathan, because it was not the normal day for me to take care of him. And she told me I had 15 minutes to get out of the house or she was going to call the cops. So I was like, okay. So I moved out. Got myself into a bad situation and had to call her back, because that was the only place I would know that I could go. So I moved back probably within about a year, I would say about a year after moving out. Thanks to my buddy who got me there, but it was just some people that was in his home that was not good. Some stuff occurred, but not going over that. I'm not ready to talk about that mess yet. So stayed there. Under the certain circumstances, I would go to school. I would take care of my brother, as a job effort, and her rules, her house, and I followed each rule. So what was expected was I worked from 7 to 7, Monday through Sunday. If I wanted a day off for myself, I had to let her know at least a few days in advance. Accordingly, at least a few days. I did that a lot of times, wouldn't even get approved. Kind of gave up and just took my day off whenever I had a day off. But I had to go, well, basically get my brother up, get him fed, get him started in the morning, take him to his day center. From his day center, go to school. School, if Jonathan pulled out his G-tube, if he made too much of a mess, if for whatever reason he needed to come back home, I was the one that was on call. Not my mom. While I was trying to go to school, it was me. So after so many times of being called, because it was almost a daily occurrence, within about an hour, 2 hours of me dropping him off, he would pull out his tube and I would be straight back over there. And then I would have to take time off from my class, drive him back to the house, leave him there. If not, I would have to watch him. So I'm not going back to college. Nowhere near it. So I've spent a lot of money that way, not going anywhere in life. Besides the same classes over and over again. After 3 chances, they stop you from going back to that college, and then you have to try somewhere else. So that ended up occurring too. I got an apartment eventually. She helped me get in an apartment because I was working under her. So she had to kind of, forge a little bit of some paperwork saying I earned a little bit more than I was supposed to. Kind of, not a cosign, but acts as a cosign. Verified my bank account information and details and stuff like that. And I got a nice apartment by myself. But the thing is, anytime her and I got into a little situation, kind of like an argument, disagreement, whatever the case might be, she threatened to fire me and she would not pay me for the time I worked. Because according to her, I didn't do my job at all the whole month. And she would usually do this right around the beginning of the month, if not kind of like the end of the month, right around the time she knew rent was due. So Liz and Chris, if you're watching, that's the reason why I always go to mom for money, is because she kind of ingrained that into my brain. Sorry guys, that's my brother and my sister probably watching. Love you guys. Now, that happened on and off for so many years until I was... I was at least in my 20s, mid-20s. I stopped working for her, got me an actual job. I would be kicked out on and off. Usually within about 15 minutes, I had to be out of the house or she threatened to call the cops. And it got me into some pretty effed up situations where I got raped or molested or trafficked or who else knows what. So a lot of things occurred. I had a couple pregnancies due to rape and miscarried or had to do a medical misfortune. If you're curious on what that is, just add it in the comments and I'll answer. The medical one was because my body was just trying to get rid of it. So I'm not evil. Please don't think I'm evil. It's just the fact that my body was trying to dispose of the kid before it could even be born. That was the most painful experience I think I've ever felt. But going back to my mother, I was never good enough. Never. Not once ever good enough. She didn't make it sound like I was ever good enough. I was always the problem child. She thought I was on drugs. She thought I was on a whole bunch of other stuff. She would lie to my family members thinking I was doing a whole bunch of things. They still believe half the crap that she pulled. Even though at the point in time, I had evidence that I didn't do any of it. I wasn't even near her half the time. Or I didn't even speak to her unless if it was about Jonathan, because that was my job. Or I was working for underneath my brother. After I got fired, I started working underneath my brother. So if my brother couldn't work, then I would work for him. But she was still technically quote unquote my boss. If I was too sick and if I couldn't make it, then I was a useless POS and she threatened to cause more drama in my life with Liz, Chris, and my grandfather. So it's always her way or be prepared to have crap your way. In high school and late middle school, when my brother and my sister moved out, things ended up getting very interesting. That's usually when the robot kind of had to come in. Because if I was feeling a certain way, things weren't getting done to her standards. There was hell to pay, big time hell to pay. My door would usually be taken off. I would lose a lot of my clothes, my books, my TV, everything, and I would have to work for them back. And I mean, work for them back. I would preferably wanted to get spanked than that being treated as a prisoner. Because I also didn't have privacy when I had to go to the bathroom. I had to leave the bathroom door open if I peed, did my business, showered, anything. The door had to be open. If I told her I wasn't feeling well, it was an excuse because, according to her, the doctor said nothing was wrong. She didn't even think about questioning it. After a while, she believed I was a hypochondriac. And it was just a way for me to get out of doing jobs around the house. So that was kind of childhood. She did get violent with me, verbally and physically at times. I also got verbally and physically violent towards her, so it was mutual. I've never gotten close to my siblings because of situations like this, because I know they're always going to take mom's side. And there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to try to change how they think of her, because they have a different relationship to her than I do. And I am glad that they have a healthy relationship with my mother. I hope it is healthy. If it's toxic, well, I give you best wishes, and hopefully it's not too toxic. But I can't anymore. And then I've gone no contact with her for periods of time. There was one time in my 20s, I went about 3 or 4 years with very minimal contact. I was living out of San Antonio. I would come over just to work and then leave, do my college. So that's when I was able to go to college, get a degree in nursing, and that reminds me I need to contact that school to get that degree because I lost it. And then did farmhand work, was earning a living wage. So just in case if my mom decided to not pay me, then I had money in. I could feed myself. I could do things. There's been some times where my mom's kicked me out and I had to sleep on park benches or bus benches and just anywhere I could, because as an adult I was not a single mother. I was not quote unquote abused, so most shelters wouldn't take me because they were full to capacity, and the only other place you have left to go in the States is basically a curb with what you've got on. A lot of the that they don't have enough shelters for the amount of homeless they have. They really don't. I've met a lot of cool homeless people in my time frame doing that. I've got to learn to not judge a book by its character, because we really don't know what anybody's going through. So I can thank Mom for that. That has made me very empathetic towards people's situations and things of that nature. Now we'll get it to the point where it was in my 30s. I got married. Was with the guy for about 2 years. Tried to move back home. He wanted me to move back home for a little while. Kind of do a test run with my mom. So I brought all 3 dogs with me. My dogs and his 2 dogs. we ended up having to keep them in the bathroom so they wouldn't trash the house and get into, you know, the trash bins or whatever the case might have been. They got into a real bad fight one day, the two boys, because it was two boys, one girl. The two boys got into a pretty bad fight, so had to take them to the emergency room for animals, the emergency veterinarian clinic, and I didn't have the money. I couldn't get a hold of Andrew, so couldn't get his money, and I ended up having to borrow from my mom. She said we would talk about how we're going to pay it back. We came up with a plan. When Andrew came back from his station in Korea, everything went to hell in a handbasket. She was demanding money. She was threatening to contact his NCO. It was a whole bunch of mess. Supposedly, she said some pretty effed up things about me to him because it was on speakerphone. I tend to black that out nowadays because I just don't care to listen to it anymore. But he said there was a lot of effed up noise that was coming out of her mouth towards me, bashing me pretty badly, saying I was better off dead, he was better off dead, everybody was better off dead. So he made an agreement with me that I stop talking to my mother because it's just not healthy, and he'll pay her the money right then and there, but I would have to stop talking to her. Basically go no contact. That also meant I couldn't watch Jonathan, I couldn't do anything, so it sucked, because Jonathan's my world. Got divorced. That's a whole nother story and a half, but I might go over it, might not. It's just, he's nobody important. In a way he is, in a way he isn't. And then I met Link, this man over here, and the world changed. We brought my mom to the UK. Then, if you're listening to his YouTube channel things, you'll understand how much of a pain in the ass she was, and how mentally unstable she really is. Didn't know how mentally unstable she was until we got her here, but that was probably because she had constant supervision. God, it's been bad. Needless to say, we got disowned. Well, it was a mutual thing. She disowned us, we disowned her. I'm assuming it was a disownment when she said I was better off dead for like the 2,000th time. But the way she said it, and the way she says that I'm never going to have a relationship with her until she gets my brother back, basically proved to me that she doesn't care about me, she doesn't want me, and I'm a useless POS to her. Babe, do you have anything to add to this? So you hear that. That's pretty much plain and simple. I could go over a lot more in detail, but not really gonna. That is not worth it. And then there's Trouble. Trouble, why are you trying to show your butt to everybody? Do you want to say hello? Hi. Okay, well, that is it. Y'all have a good Monday and a good couple days, and I will see you soon.